beautiful friends. Today we are going to talk about books that are about animals, maybe based in like folklore or mythology. So my name is Britt. I'm going to be joined by staff members Michaela and Shannon. We all use she, her, hers pronouns. We work for the Pikes Peak Library District and Young Adult Services. So let's talk about some books, y'all.
1,000 years ago, the great kami dragon was summoned to grant a terrible wish, and the land of Iwagoto was plunged into darkness and chaos. Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa follows Yumeko, a half-human, half-kitsune girl with a penchant for mischief and illusion. She's entrusted with a single piece of an ancient scroll, the scroll that can summon the great kami dragon, and the time is coming. Along her journey to another temple to keep it safe, she meets Tatsumi, a samurai with a dark past and an even darker sword. Along this journey, she meets a bunch of demons and all sorts of things ripped straight from Japanese mythology. What this book does in Japanese mythology world building, J.R.R. Tolkien did with the world building of Middle-earth. I love this book. This book does a lot for me, and maybe it's because she is joined by a band of rogues and people who shouldn't even like each other. A Miko, a noble samurai, a ronin or disgraced samurai, all of it is there, and it is amazing. Now this is book 1 of a 3-part series, but all 3 books are out, and you should totally read Shadow of the Fox by Julie Kagawa.
Another great read for folks who like their fantasy with a healthy dose of animal lore is going to be Alatsue by Darcy Little Badger. Alatsue, our main character, has the power to summon the ghost of dead animals. So like her long dead dog, for example, is like her bestie. So on top of all that, she exists in a world with other sorts of like mythologies as well. So there are like vampires and fairies, and basically at the start of the book, the main character finds out that her cousin has died, and it's not a murder. The circumstances are pretty suspicious, so she goes in to investigate. So if you like a murder mystery with some fantasy trappings, I'd really strongly recommend Alatsue by Darcy Little Badger.
Hi everyone, my name is Michaela. I use she, her pronouns, and I work for PPLD. I am here today to yell about The Merciful Crow duology by Margaret Owen. The first book is appropriately called The Merciful Crow, and it follows a teenager named Fi, whose entire world is turned upside down when she and her murder of crows are asked to deal with the body of the dead phoenix prince, Hasmir, which sets in motion a series of events that could either lead to the crow's salvation or wipe them out for good. My favorite element of this duology is 1000% the world building. As you may be able to guess, Fi and the other crows are not actually crows, they are people, but in this world, people are split up into groups or castes based on birds, and each of those castes have witches or folks with magical abilities called birthrights that are connected to the birds that represent their castes. So for instance, phoenixes are the highest caste and their birthright is fire, so they have the ability to manipulate fire, and sparrows, on the other hand, are one of the lowest castes and their birthright is refuge. So they have the ability to hide really well and kind of keep themselves out of danger. Crows have no birthright, but crow witches can essentially steal the birthrights from other castes by burning bones or teeth taken from the folks in those castes. So yeah, it's a little complicated, but the world building is some of the most interesting that I have read in young adult fantasy in a really long time. And Fi is an extremely powerful, no-nonsense heroine that really makes a point of looking after her own. So honestly, this book is a delight to read. Fi is a delightful protagonist to read, and I highly recommend it for anyone looking for a book with interesting world building and, again, a no-nonsense, powerful heroine. The Merciful Crow is followed by The Faithless Hawk, which completes the duology, and both of them are available now.
A new favorite of mine is Amongst the Beast and Briars by Ashley Poston. It's about this girl who lives in a kingdom that's always been pretty prosperous. So she's the gardener for like the prince and for the castle essentially. So she's like good friends with the princess, and we're coming up to like the princess's coronation day, and then on that day the creepy never enter 'em or you will die woods spew out some monsters which kind of set a lot of things in motion. And so our main character Ceres ends up befriending a talking bear and fox and heading into the woods with her gardening magic to try to save the day. One of the things I like best about this book is that it's a really great blend of like, you know, sort of coming of age, fairy tale. It's got a format that you're probably familiar with. It definitely has some like Disney vibes if that's your thing, but there's enough new interesting stuff in there, like with the gardening magic, some of the stuff with the talking animals I thought was really fun. So it's a really good mixture of the familiar but with like fun new elements. So I think it's a really great read for folks who are new to YA, like tweens who are ready to graduate into YA but don't want some of the like mature content that sometimes comes with YA. It would be a good fit for them, or like anyone who likes animals or fairy tales, or ideally both. So the book is Amongst the Beast and Briars, and it's by Ashley Poston, and you should check it out.